you, Mayor. Good afternoon. As most of you know, on Wednesday, March 16, 2016, the Madison Police Department responded to a report of evidence of an explosion in 100 block of Cherry Trace. Officers from the Madison Police Department and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department responded to the scene. This is the second such explosion in a 9-day time frame. It was determined that an explosive device was detonated in the driveway of a residence on Cherry Trace. The residence was that of a local Jefferson County judge. The Indiana State Police Explosive Ordnance Destruction Team was contacted and came to the scene to assist with evidence collection. Officers canvassed the neighborhood and spoke to residents in an effort to speak with potential witnesses. Evidence was collected at the scene and has been turned over to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. The ATF has joined forces with the Madison Police Department and the Indiana State Police in these investigations. We are considering these explosions as a message and a direct threat to members of the criminal justice system in our local community. If you are a neighbor or family member of a judge, prosecuting attorney, defense attorney, or police officer, please be vigilant and observant in your area. The investigation is ongoing. If anyone has any information regarding the explosions or persons of interest, you may remain anonymous, but please get your information and call Detective Lieutenant Ty Eblin or Detective Lieutenant Jonathan Simpson at the Madison Police Department. Our phone number is 812-265-3347. You can also call the ATF tip line at 1-888-ATF-TIPS. No matter how trivial you think your information is, please go ahead and call in with your tip. In both of these explosions, there were witnesses that heard the explosion but failed to report it to the authorities. The smallest of leads could be what breaks open our case. And with that, that is the conclusion of my statement. If there are any questions, I will, as the mayor's already said, I will answer what I can.
What can you say about the type of bomb that was involved? Was this chemical or powder or what?
It was a powder explosive, and as the mayor's mentioned, it was a homemade explosive.
Chief, do you specifically think that the suspect or people involved are targeting law enforcement or people in the criminal justice system?
Based on the fact the first one was in our City Hall Police Department parking lot, and now we have a judge's residence, yes, as I said, we're taking that as a direct threat to our criminal justice system.
So you think it's the same person?
We do. We believe there are some consistencies between the two that we believe it is the same person.
And how these are not like MABs or anything like that. I mean, can you talk about potential death here? How deadly are they?
That's difficult to answer. And as I said, evidence has been taken to the ATF lab, and once we have those results, I'm assuming we will have more information on the impact that these devices could have had.
How big are we talking about? How big would this device have been?
Well, that's also still kind of under investigation. We're still collecting data and information, and I would assume, again, that the ATF lab will be able to get us a better indication on what kind of size.
Is this something you would throw like a firecracker, or is this something you could set and have enough time to get away such that you're not likely to be spotted?
Based on the second device, we think, based on the size of the fuse, that we're able to determine they were able to get some distance away before it detonated.
Fuse with light, or that ran off batteries, or how, do you know how it?
We believe that it was lit.
So this isn't something that a resident would see sitting out and then have time to call you. By the time that it's out there, it's already had a fuse or something lit and is getting ready to detonate.
Correct.
The person that's building these bombs, is this someone who knows what they're doing, or is this someone who's going online and looking at a YouTube video and coming up with a homemade bomb?
That's a great question, and we really don't have that information as of yet.
Is this like a pipe bomb? Can you tell?
Again, that's also part of the investigation, and once we have those results back from the lab, I think we'll be able to release more information on what kind of device we're looking at. Based on the fact that we do have some threats towards the criminal justice system, the ATF is confident that their lab can hopefully move this investigation closer to the front and get these results back rather quickly.
Have they given you any kind of time frame for when those results should be back?
They have not.
Does it look like, based on the first one and what we know about that, or what you said about that, and the second one, just based on where it was found, that what the bomber was trying to do was to get it under a car by throwing it?
We don't know that for sure. But it's possible because there were vehicles in the area, but we don't know. We can't, it's difficult to speculate what their intention would have been.
Is there any surveillance video from the first bomb that was detonated around the City Hall area, the police department's parking lot area? Do you guys have any surveillance video of this?
We do not.
Have there been any other threats in addition to the two incidents? Phone calls, word on the street?
No, they both were blind, if you will. I mean, there were no threats in advance.
Chief, you've been here for a while. How have you ever had anything like this happen? Anything similar?
Not in my 23 years, no.
How similar are the two devices? Do you know yet?
We don't, other than the fact that they were the same material, the same type of evidence was collected at both scenes.
So no doubt at all that it's connected.
We believe that it is, yes.
And again, you're sending out a warning to neighbors just to be on the lookout, or?
Absolutely. You know, as we have often said, you know your neighborhood better than anybody else. So if there's something that seems out of place, whether it's a vehicle you haven't seen before that maybe is casing the neighborhood, or whatever it is, we would rather know the most trivial thing that turns out to be nothing, as opposed to somebody making that decision for us and saying, well, that's probably nothing, I'm not going to bother.
And again, who's investigating this?
It is the City of Madison Police Department, along with the Indiana State Police, and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department has assisted, and then the ATF is now involved as well.
Is it considered a federal case, or is ATF only involved in terms of expertise of evidence collection and processing?
As of right now, the latter.
Any indication as to whether, from them so far, as to whether they would like to take a greater involvement or believe that this has occurred somewhere else and there's some similarities, or do you know yet?
They have not made that statement as of yet.
What is the city doing different for security?
Well, we're trying to up our patrols, and we're going to talk. Both explosions were in the middle of the night. One was approximately 1 a.m., one was approximately 3 a.m. So we're going to up our patrols in the middle of the night and try and provide some extra security. I know the Indiana State Police last night was also had some extra units in the area as well.
Any indication from the witnesses at this most recent one, any signs of a car right afterwards, or screeching of tires, or anybody trying to get out of there quickly, or is it just something you could set and forget?
We do not have any of that information as of now.
And so you're hoping somebody watching can help provide some answers, or?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, even the smallest of tip might be what we need to break open the case.
What should someone do if they see a device? It may not be a bomb, but if they see something that's suspicious.
That's a great question. Contact the Madison Police Department, and we will definitely get, again, the state police EOD team here immediately for their assistance. We're fortunate that one of their team leaders and members of their team, one of their troopers, lives locally and can be here rather quickly. And but yeah, that initial call to 911 to get the ball rolling would be the most important thing first.
Any indication that it's more than one person, even if these two situations are related? By that I mean, if they're throwing this, do you need somebody at the wheel and somebody throwing it, or could this be a one-man operation?
It could be a one-man operation, or it could be multiple. We do not know at this time.
If they're watching, what do you want to say to them?
Well, that's one question that caught me off guard. I guess my answer would be that, you know, we're going to do everything we can to bring you to justice, and the substantial risk not only to other people but to themselves, you know, to produce these devices first of all, and then to use them, that risk in and of itself is a great risk.
Making MacGyver bombs and throwing them in gopher holes is one thing, kid stuff. This ain't kid stuff, is it?
No, it's absolutely it's not. And you know, it's, as I've said, we have threats. We consider these threats on a judge, on a public official. So I guess back to your original question, or not your original question, but one of your questions you asked earlier about, is this going to end up as a federal charge? It's very well possible that it is.
What kind of charges might there be?
Well, we'll know more once we know more about the devices, and we find out who the suspects are, and we can find out their intentions. Their intentions will play a huge role in actually what we can charge them with.
The last one was found right kind of right here, right? Or fairly close by?
The first one?
Yeah, the
The,
first,
the
yeah.
first one was in the parking lot right behind this building.
Which is kind of an in-specific target. The second one sounds specific.
And we took the first one as a threat to, we weren't sure if it was law enforcement or if it was City Hall side or what, because we do share a parking lot here. But now we're fairly certain that it's law enforcement and criminal justice.
So if I'm an officer, I'm kind of used to this, just in terms of being aware of my surroundings and if I'm in a marked unit. If you're somebody like a defense attorney or somebody else who's not used to being a potential target, how should you change how you conduct your life?
I think until we can bring this person to justice, you need to be very aware of your surroundings, and anything that looks out of order, we need to be contacted. Law enforcement needs to be involved. Is that it? Thank you for coming.